My name is Robert Sochor. I was born in Antwerp, Belgium in April 1939. My immediate family consisted of my father, mother, and brother, who was 11 years older than I was. My father ran a sundry store, and we lived in the apartment in back of the store. My mother taught languages at the Berlitz School. In May 1940, the Germans invaded Belgium. My family, my mother's sister and her family, as well as some others, hired a truck and driver to flee to the French border to cross into France. My immediate family, mother, father, myself, and brother, were not permitted to cross the border, as my father had emigrated to Belgium after the 1917 Russian Revolution and was considered stateless and could not acquire Belgian citizenship. From the border, we went to Dunkirk and were unsuccessful to secure passage on the boat to go to England, as well as all other refugees in Dunkirk, attempting to do so. We made our way back to Antwerp, where we continued to live. Over the course of the next 2 years, severe restrictions were imposed on the Jews by the Nazis, and life became untenable. We even stopped sleeping in our apartment because my parents had heard of other Jews disappearing during the middle of the night. My parents would still go into the store during the day to do business, but would close in the mid-afternoon. One day in September of 1942, the babysitter took me out for a walk, and my brother had also left the apartment. While we were out, the Gestapo conducted the roundup, and my mother and father were picked up. On my way back to the apartment, the superintendent intercepted the babysitter and myself, telling us not to return because the Gestapo were waiting for us. The same with my brother on his way back. My mother had managed to scribble a note, which the superintendent somehow got a hold of, which note contained the address of her brother's wife, my mother's sister-in-law, my Aunt Rochelle, in Brussels, who my brother and I were to go to. Both my parents were transported to Auschwitz on September 15, 1942, where they both perished. My Aunt Rochelle, who with her husband, my mother's brother, were both in the resistance. However, my mother's brother had previously been denounced in 1942, sent to Mauthausen concentration camp, where he was killed. My aunt arranged for my brother and I to be hidden with the family, where we lived in an attic, but after a year, when my brother took me out for a walk in the park to get some exercise, we were denounced and had to quickly leave, to be placed again by my aunt in different locations. For the balance of the occupations under the Germans, I bounced around in various placements, the last being at an orphanage in eastern Belgium, in a monastery, which was something more out of Oliver Twist. My mother's sister and family, who had gone to the border with us at the time of the invasion, had made it into France and eventually to the United States in 1941. After the war, they attempted to have my brother and I emigrate to Israel to be with another of my mother's sisters, but the British would not give permission for both of us to emigrate. Eventually, my aunt and her husband were able to get me and my brother to the United States. We arrived in May 1946. I was 7 years old and taken in and raised by my mother's sister and her family in Newark, New Jersey. And am very grateful to have survived the war and be here today. I went to public schools in Newark, Rutgers University, NYU Law School, and had a successful career as an attorney and CPA. But the best part is that I have been married to a wonderful girl for 61 years, have 2 beautiful daughters, and 2 wonderful grandchildren. I am lighting this candle in memory of my family who perished in the Holocaust. My father, Simeon Sochor, my mother, Sabine Gunzig Sochor, and my mother's brother, Jacques Gunzig.